So I know you just got back from a trip.
Yeah.
How was it?
Amazing as always. I try to visit China several times a year, and this one I went for the Canton Fair, which is the largest import-export exhibition in the world. It's over 3 phases. It's got every category of product you can imagine. It's got over 26,000 suppliers there, but these are like the top tier suppliers, not just like the little shady ones that you see on Alibaba. So it's so important to go out and visit them and just sort of build relationships and sort of see the new products, discuss pricing, and especially at this time with the issue going on with tariffs, suppliers really appreciate you taking the time to go out there and visit them and sort of show face that business is still moving. So I hosted my first mastermind in China
Nice.
on this trip as well, which was really cool. Packed out the Four Seasons, got 50 people, just went
Wow.
over all my like sort of latest like strategies, and then the networking aspect of it was really cool because a lot of people go to China by themselves and they're on a journey by themselves, they're in a hotel by themselves, starting a business by themselves, but there's a lot of other people similar age to them on the same journey that they just want to connect with. So it was really cool sort of putting all those people together, and then you sort of see on social media the next day these guys are going to the fair together, they're going to factories together, they're working out together. So that was probably the coolest thing, to connect all these people.
Was that 50 brand owners you had there?
Yeah, and these
Very cool.
these guys were all selling on either Shopify, Kickstarter, or Amazon.
Okay. What does a typical day look like for you in China? And maybe if we can do, when you're at the fair versus
Yeah.
not.
Well, before any trip, I have an itinerary, and it's very important to decide what are the outcomes that I want to achieve on this trip.
Mm-hmm.
It might be I'm looking to launch 3 new products. It might be I've got a really good supplier, but I need better pricing. It might be that like I need better quality for this product, which is selling very well. So I always set like what are my objectives for the trip, and then plan around that. And I would normally start with a few factory visits on the way. So first of all, I used to live in Shanghai. Shanghai is one of my favorite cities. So I started a trip in Shanghai, just went there for a little holiday, because you don't want to get off the plane with a bit of jet lag and tired and just go straight into business, straight into a meeting. You kind of need a day to sort of adjust to the time zone, and being back in China, get a good night's sleep. So I went to Shanghai for a couple of days and just did fun stuff, just kind of switched off from work a
What
little
is
bit.
fun stuff in Shanghai for people that don't know?
Yeah, you know what? Shanghai is just one of the coolest cities in the world. It's just one of those places where like it's just constantly moving forward. It's got an energy in the city, and I think the skyline is one of the most beautiful skylines that I've seen in my life. Like the architecture is phenomenal, and they've got everything from like really cool bars, restaurants, coffee shops to like people having the latest tech, the latest fashion. So I just like to people watch, a little bit while I'm out there and just sort of see how fast it's growing and developing.
Okay, nice.
And then after that, sort of visiting factories, and the factory visits are pre-planned in terms of like what I want to achieve there. But I went to a sportswear factory, like for Activewear, and there's a factory which makes for Fila, Gymshark,
Wow.
a lot of top like sport brands, and just sort of seeing the process start to finish. And I documented it this time for my YouTube channel because I wanted to show people from start to finish how garments are made, and then just sort of educate people on the process. And then went to a footwear factory as well, which was really cool for like sport and running shoes. And then headed to the Canton Fair for phase 2 and phase 3. And for the fair, it's like you're going to see hundreds of suppliers. You've got to keep an eye out for new products, but you need energy. Like, you're walking around all day, and like after you've walked through all these different lanes and halls, sometimes the products can start to look the same. So you really need to have a fresh eye. And I documented all of that as well, turned it into some YouTube episodes. So yeah, it's going to be cool.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
How big is the Canton Fair for people that don't know?
The actual complex itself is larger than an international airport. Like it's overwhelming. Like I think if you're going for the first time, and that's like one of the number one questions I get, like, or like things that I see when people go for the first time, they're just a little bit like blown away to be like, I don't know where to start. This is overwhelming. So, to get around that, it's really around getting comfortable, and the quality of questions that you ask determine the quality of your results. And if you are shy or a little bit nervous, it's important to start in a different category of product than of which you're going for. So for example, it's your first time and you're doing like sport and outdoor products, you might want to start in like the pet category.
Okay.
And just, talk to the pet suppliers and be like, what's the price of this product, and what certifications do you have, and what's the MOQ, and why is the MOQ that number, and which markets do you supply, and who's your biggest customer, and like what's the lead time, and just get comfortable with a bit of back and forth with suppliers, build up a bit of confidence, and then when you're ready, then go into the category of product that you're interested in.
So why is it important to visit China?
If you're not visiting your factories, you're not really building a brand, you're just gambling from a laptop. Like there's so many important aspects of visiting your factories and visiting China, but one of the most important ones for me is building relationships, because a lot of people think about, the price, which you can always negotiate and things like that, and you'll get better pricing when you see them in the factory or in China. But you have a chance to build up a relationship, not just with someone in the company, but with the boss, with the decision maker in the company. Because when you contact a supplier in Alibaba, you're talking to Sally 19 at Shanghai Profit, which is a sales associate which joined last year. But when you see someone in the Canton Fair, you're talking to the boss or the general manager or a decision maker, and you've got a chance to really build up a relationship with them and get to know them, go out for dinner together, get pictures together, showcase your samples and showcase your vision. And that really, really fast tracks your product development and supply chain, because fast forward a few months when it's Chinese New Year and you're trying to get your shipment out and it's stuck, and you can just call them up and be like, hey, I need a favor. I need you to put this item to the front of the production schedule. They know you went out together, like you broke bread together, you had a good time together. So they're more willing to do those types of things. And they're also willing to introduce new products to you as well, because while we're all product developers and we work on products, well, so do the factories as well. So their product team, their engineers work on stuff, and then they say, hey, you might want to try this for your market. This is going really well in Japan. We think it will work well for UK or for USA. So there's so many benefits of building a solid relationship and a solid foundation with your suppliers, which you just can't do from behind a laptop.
Okay. And would you say people should go to their factory or go to the Canton Fair to meet people?
I would say there's 3 levels to sourcing from China. Number 1 is online, like your Alibaba global sources. Number 2 is your exhibitions, like your Canton Fair. And number 3 is visiting your factory. And there's tiers to all of those things. Like, it's kind of like top of funnel, wide results. And then if you really want to become a professional, because the real brand owners, those are the ones like visiting the factories. So if you're sort of sourcing online and you're not getting the best results, you're not getting the best quality, you're not getting the best prices, next step, go out to the Canton Fair, meet as many suppliers as you can, showcase your samples, get the best pricing. And then after that, once you've got good pricing and good quality and good suppliers, but now you need like credit terms on your order, you have to discuss that face to face in the factory. And working in the factory also improves you as a product developer, because you see how your products are made from start to finish. Like the first time I ever went into a factory, it was a backpack factory, and I thought of it as one product in a store on a shelf. But when I saw it in the factory, I saw it in 30 different pieces. The shoulder straps, the foam that goes in the shoulder straps, the webbing, the buckles, the zippers, the pullers, the inside lining. And I just saw this process, step by step, of it getting created. And now when I think of products, I think of it in 3D. So that's why it's so important to visit a factory and become an absolute best product developer, because if I've got a $15 product and I need to make it $12, I've got 30 different places I can go in my head of where I can reduce the cost of that product. But if I'd never been to the factory and I just saw it as one unit, I don't have a clue how I can bring this price down. So it really, really improves you as a product developer. But you got to consider those 3 tiers. If you are just sourcing online, next step is get out to the Canton Fair. If you've had good results at the Canton Fair, next step, get out to your factory.
Okay, and will you be doing this regularly, hosting events, going out there so people can kind of follow?
Definitely, yeah. Canton Fair happens twice a year, every 6 months, every April and October. And I've not missed the Canton Fair since November 2010. So
wow.
I've done 28 in a row.
That's insane.
Yeah. The only ones I missed were when there was off because of
the virus.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but
shadow ban now.
yeah.
I want to kind of come back to what we talked about before on, China being the go-to source for, or the go-to hub for sourcing products. Do you think, given what's going on in the world today, it is still number 1?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the category of product, but I would say 90% of the products, like the go-to place is China. And it's very important to have like a China +1 strategy, meaning chances are China will be the best place to manufacture your goods, but you also want to know like where's the next best place in case things with tariffs kick off again, or even during COVID, factories shut down. I've even seen factories shut down like 15 years ago because of like factories giving off too much pollution. Wow. So a lot of things can change in your supply chain, and I'm not saying switch to another country, but you should know what's the next best country to go to. And that normally depends on what is the raw material in your product and which country specializes in that raw material. So for example, India is very strong for cotton, canvas, wood, leather, handcraft. So if you're doing like a leather biker jacket, then you know that India is a good place because they manufacture a lot of leather. So as long as you have a price of the product and a sample of the product, then you know if anything kicks off and you have to move outside of China, that you've already got a backup, you've already got it priced up, you've already got it sampled up, so you can then pull the trigger if you need to. But you're in a dangerous position if China shuts down for whatever reason, and then now you're scrambling, now you're looking for a new factory, now you're looking for a new country, now you have to go and visit this new place, now you have to get a sample, now you have to negotiate the price. So you can do all that work in advance and in preparation. But I would say like China is a go-to at the moment, and it probably will be for the next 10 years. but also these Chinese factories are also setting up production in other countries as well. So while I was just at the Canton Fair right now, you know, with the whole tariff situation, Chinese factories were setting up production in other countries as well. So you can still buy from your manufacturing partners, but they've set up production in Thailand, in Cambodia, in Vietnam, in Sri Lanka, in Myanmar, and they've partnered with factories there and set up a joint venture and moved their orders there and helped train their workers on their production techniques. So don't just like dismiss your current factory, but work with them to find productions in other countries if it's becoming a challenge to manufacture in China.
Okay, and you say just go higher up the supply chain, so closer to wherever the raw material is your kind of advice there?
Yeah, and there's also an amazing tool called importyeti.com, which is totally free, which you can type in the market leader like of your competition, and then it should show you what factories they're using and what countries they're manufacturing from and what HS codes they're using to import, and it's totally free as well. And I've got a demo video of it on my YouTube channel as well.
Okay.